In the 30s, Volkswagen was born, just a single model, the Type 1. We came to know it as the Käfer, or Beetle. Then the Type 2 came, the fabulous Kombi, and that was used by campers and surfers everywhere. Now, we have this, the Caddy Beach. And as you can see, I've moved my office outdoors. Sydney's particularly changeable weather is not being very kind to us today. But let me show you around the Caddy Beach. Many a relationship, however short, was consummated in a Beetle, and that same ethos led to the Type 2, more commonly known as the Kombi. Those two models are as adored now as they were back in the days when we now need orange filtered lenses to appreciate them. That's perhaps why VW considered, however briefly, calling the special edition Caddy a Kombi. Fearing a public lynching, VW erred on the side of caution and stuck to Caddy. Kombis were loved by those lithe-bodied beach-bound blondes. But VW needed more. What to call this special edition? Flummoxed, hair was wrenched and cloth torn. Undeterred, execs sat hunched over their Magenbort. After much musing, hurrah, they said, and Caddy Beach blossomed into being. Bakelite is now space-age plastic, and these lights, once humble candles, are now by xenon with more lumens than a small sun. And this badge, it's solid and contains the radar for Caddy's advanced radar-assisted cruise control. And up here is the camera for the autonomous emergency braking. There are 17-inch wheels, and these are called canyons. There are 7 exterior colours, with fancy names like Candy White, Reflex Silver, Fortana Red, Indium Grey, Viper Green and Sandstorm Yellow. All but the Candy White are metallic, and all are no-cost options. But you can shell out several extra shekels on some lavish options. Roof rails, for example, I think finish off the look, and I think they look just smashing, although best not to say smashing when you're talking about cars, for obvious reasons. And the seating is as flexible as a Cirque du Soleil somersaulter. There's a sliding door on each side so you can walk straight through if you want to. And the seats tumble down with just a single movement. There's a lot of room in the back too, and with these seats flat you can fold a mattress out that'll fold right across so that you can have a little bit of a kip next to your favourite wave. There's suitably beachy fabric. With the seats like this, there's a ton of room. It's positively cavernous. This table and chair neatly fold up and fit in the back. Just here in this zippered compartment, the bed folds out straight over the top, and you can keep all of your luggage under the bed. And without the bed folded, there's a ton of space in the back. The 2 outdoor chairs fold into their own carrier and sit behind them. Along the side, zippered compartments. Keep your bits and bobs. There's a jack for the full-size spare. There's a 12-volt outlet, cup holders for what would normally be the 3rd row of seats, a rechargeable LED torch, and all of the windows have block-out blinds because over this hatch fits a tent that adds 2 by 2.3 square meters to your space. Inside, the room is cavernous. There's a spot at the top of the windscreen for front passengers so that you can put extra bits and bobs up there. Inbuilt grab handles on both sides. But I've seen a problem. This tray table doesn't seem to be quite at the right height. It would certainly stop your stuff from sliding off. Perhaps the seat back needs to be back a little bit further. There's another 12-volt outlet in the back and some air conditioning outlets. The front seats too are pretty comfortable, but the lumbar support and seat back levers are kind of at the back of the seat and a little bit hard to get to. And the seat height lever puts the seat up, but it moves it forward as well. And even with the seat in its furthest back position, I'm still not quite at a comfortable position for the steering wheel, because although it goes in, it doesn't come out any further than this. So I can't really get in the spot that I like to. Instruments have a colour multifunction display in the middle, and the usual Volkswagen buttons, including one for voice control. Smart cruise control is on the other side with the distance to the car in front, up and down 10 kilometres and up and down 2 kilometres. And the middle has what we now term a charming set of manual air conditioning buttons. This car doesn't have smart entry and push button start. And I kind of like it. I like trying to get that whole retro key out of my pocket, to press the button to open the door and then to put it into the ignition to start the car. Naturally, like all Volkswagens, we have Apple CarPlay, and there's no inbuilt sat-nav. So you have to make do with what's in your phone, which is great normally, but it is a bit of a pain if you're in an area with dodgy cell reception. There's a spot for your phone below the radio, but I can see a problem with anything that is pointing straight down. Can you imagine spilling a cup of coffee in the USB and auxiliary connections? Of course, there are cup holders and bottle holders in the doors. The plastic is decent quality, but it's quite hard. But this is, at the end of the day, a commercial vehicle. But all of that's no good if it drives like a dog. You can see that I have to reach just a little bit to get to that. When I do, my reversing camera comes up. I release my manual parking brake. And this is something that the old timers didn't have, a reversing camera. Makes it so much easier. Like I said, when I raise the seat to get it ready for me, it moves it up and forward. So although this is as back as I said, as far as it'll go, it's still not quite where I'd like to be to drive. Nonetheless, it is reasonably comfortable. It would just mean that I'd have to change my driving style somewhat. The steering is light, it's incredibly light. There's hill start assist, which is going to be especially handy if you've got a load on.
6 kilometres, turn left onto Gardeners Road.
What I did just then was to change my directions, onto my Google Maps instead of Apple Maps, because I just couldn't get it to shut up. Whereas at least with Google Maps I could mute it. Ride, remember this is a commercial vehicle, is comfortable but firm, and like most commercial vehicles it'd be much better with a load on, and I certainly would like a load on. I really should rethink what I say. I'll edit that bit out. There's a slightly misty-eyed retro feeling about anything that's vaguely connected to a Kombi. But the truth of the matter is that this is a modern car. And I don't know about you, but I've owned classic cars. And frankly, they're a pain in the... They're a pain. They never go, they never stop, and Kombi was no exception. They look pretty, but they had maybe 12 kilowatts when they started. I think they finished with about 40 kilowatts. That's less than half the power of this car. It's probably lighter, but nonetheless. Well, there you have it. Caddy Beach. It rated well, it got 72 because although the drive I couldn't quite get comfortable in my driver's seat, it is so flexible. It scored well on most things, especially in space and practicality. But unfortunately, I couldn't quite get comfortable in the driver's seat. Nonetheless, I think the 72 score represents excellent value. For a car around $46,000, show me a camper that's cheaper. The normal Caddy has 7 seats, this one just has 5, but they're 5 flexible seats. I reckon VW's onto something.